Hi everyone, this is Lu. In this presentation, we're going to delve into the article, The Wisdom in Our Stories, Asian American Mother Scholar Voices. We can tell from the title that it's about the storytelling narratives of Asian American Mother Scholar. This study was published in 2024 in the International Journal of Qualitative Studies in Education. So without further ado, let's get started. First things first, the introduction and literature review. The study topic centers on the Asian American mother scholars, also as teacher educators. And in the study, they presented letters to their children as an autoethnographic counter-narrative. It also explores how gender, race, identities, and mothering intersect in academia. Its significance lies in its amplification on the often silenced voices, highlighting unique challenges during the pandemic and anti-Asian racism. Here comes to the research questions. So primarily these two. How do Asian American mother scholars experience the academy and parenting at the same time? So how do they manage the challenges? And how do their stories inform activism, scholarship, and identity? Review of the previous research is very important, especially when it comes to conducting an empirical study. We have to understand what has been researched on in the field and what are some of the research and knowledge gaps. So in this study, what do we know and what do we not know? Most research nowadays, they ignores Asian American moms in academia. This reminds me of a very famous scholar graduated also from UGA as one of the very marvelous advisees of my PhD advisor. And she, as an international student pursuing a doctoral degree in the US, she also talked about her experience of mothering in this context of learning the mothering language, the motherhood language in the United States. So I highly recommend her articles and research to you. So the ASAM means Asian American. Mother scholar in this article, they're so in the bigger context, they're usually peripherized in the academy, although some of them have really high achievements in the field. And Asian women's model minority, invisible foreigner, and unnatural invisibilities. These are all the stereotypes imposed on them. And the mother scholars is actually a relatively new term in the field coined by education scholars just in the past decade. Here comes down to the methodology. So the study methods, the settings and participants include four Asian American mother scholars across the states. Three of them self-identified as part of the Chinese diaspora, including mainland Chinese American and Taiwanese Chinese American. While one self-identified as South Asian American, they're all working in higher education now. And the theoretical framework guiding this study is the Asian critical theory, also known as Asian crit, which focuses on Asianization, their positionality, intersectionality, committed to social justice, and mother scholarship. We can tell from the word, from the combination of this word, mother and scholarship, that it emphasizes on educational practice engaging parents and child in this teaching and learning context. When it comes to the data collection and analysis, they use this collaborative autoethnography over such a long period of time, 4 years. We can tell from collaborative autoethnography that this is actually a mutual storytelling or story narration of the mother scholars of their lived experience. And the primary data comes from the letters that they wrote to their kids, explaining why they do what they do. And the field notes, I'll present one of the field notes in the next slide. Here, I want to emphasize on the counter storytelling methodology. This is actually a new methodology that I learned from this article. Counter storytelling is actually a methodology that emerged from this critical race theory to challenge dominant narratives by countering the lived experiences of those who are marginalized. And this article also used thematic analysis within and across the letters that they wrote to their children, using the Asian crit and mother scholar framework. Here comes to the very exciting findings. Okay, so here I would like to share this very single mother scholar whose name is Bettina Xie. She is now a full professor at the University of Washington in College of Education. So she is a second generation in the United States. She was born in the US, but her family speak Chinese and Taiwanese. She used to speak Taiwanese, Hokkien, and Mandarin with her grandmother before the age of 7. But by 7, when her grandmother passed away, she completely stopped to speak these 3 languages. And since she lived in this white suburb where the English only ideology was deeply entrenched, she lost the context and the connection with Asian as an Asian living in American. So when faced with this heritage language loss, she also experienced identity dissociation. So this letter is an example that she wrote to her children of her story facing language loss. Growing up, I hesitated to use my voice. I was too loud for my position as a Taiwanese American girl and simultaneously too American for my family, but never American enough for my white peers. I knew little Mandarin and even less Taiwanese, and what I did know became lost in the discourses of English only and assimilation at school. So she continued to share her struggling in this huge assimilation game that she had to incorporate into the local community. She hoped that her child will be able to reclaim her voice, and because she wanted her and him to see the power of their words in English, in Mandarin, and in Spanish as a citizen of this world. Here are some of the major findings, which are the commonalities among all of these 4 Asian American scholars. All of them have experience of being too American for families, but never American enough for their white peers. And they are constantly dealing with this multi-layered complexities of oppression, such as racism, sexism, and assumption of their immigration status. There are also stereotypes of they being Asian American women as dragon ladies or submissive. So they have this internalized racism and shame about themselves, about their color, their food, their language, and their heritage. So the finding too is mothering as resistance and pedagogy. Mothering has now become central to the critical scholarship and teaching practice in the education field. Mm, so in this methodology, we can use the children's experiences to inform their own identities as they reject being tiger mother in favor of this sustainable collective responsibility. Their children also serve as their teachers, helping them to critically navigate their identity. Well, so what are the implications? There are 4 dimensions. For teacher educator, we need to center on their voices, which is traditionally silenced in the field. When it comes to curriculum, this include the Asian American histories and stories that challenge the dominant narratives. In pedagogical practices, we can use counter storytelling as a healing process for challenging racism and promoting social science to reclaim the mother scholar's identity and help future teachers to understand the power of stories and their lived experiences, and also the voices that are missing from the classroom. So in future research, we advocate for more research on mother scholars of color across different ethnic groups. Maybe next time, not just Asian, but say like Mexican, and etc. We can also investigate their intersectional experiences of women, faculty, and the challenges that they face. We can use the collective resistance as a strategy for solidarity among the marginalized scholars. We can also study long-term impacts of heritage language loss, which I personally think is a sad truth. Here comes to the references, and thank you so much for listening.